Hello, in this video I will be creating an app using Vue.js, .NET Core Web API and SQL Server database. The demo app will be a to-do app where user can add, view and delete nodes from this app. I will create database objects. I will create backend using .NET Core Web API to access the database and perform CURD methods. I will create Vue.js project as a user interface to perform the CURD method through to the API in the database. I am logged onto my Azure portal where I'm creating a database. I will create a new resource group. Database name will be the to-do app DB, database server name to-do app server. I will be using SQL authentication with the customized user ID and password. Now my database is ready. I will connect this database through to SQL Server Management Studio in order to create a notes table and insert couple of records in this table. So now my database is ready with the notes table with 2 rows in there. Now I will create ASP.NET Core Web API with 3 endpoints: get, post and delete for notes table. I will install Newtons of a JSON serializer. Now I need to configure this JSON serializer in my program.cs. I will enable course. It is not a good practice, but on live environment we should only be whitelisting the IP. Now I will create a controller, a to-do app controller, which will have three endpoints. In my app setting.json, I will set my connection string for the to-do app database. So now I will create my first endpoint, which will be http get with the route get nodes. This endpoint will access the database and will read from the nodes table. For accessing the connection string from the app.settings, I will inject iConfiguration. Get node endpoint is ready. I will quickly check by running the application. Yes, I can see both of the records are displaying. Now I will create two endpoints. One will be the HTTP post, which will add record into the nodes table, and the other one will be HTTP delete, which will delete the row from the nodes table. All three endpoints are ready: get nodes, add node, and delete nodes. I have checked by running the application. They are working as expected. Now I will be creating a Vue.js app, which will be the front end for our application. I will use Visual Studio Code as a IDE. I will create an index.html. I am using the CDN version of Vue. I will open the index.html to check my app is running as expected. Now I will use the CDN version of IX library, which will help me to call the API. I have created a refresh data method which will call get nodes endpoint and select all the records from the database, and I'm displaying these records with the v-for directive in the paragraph tag. And I'm calling refresh data method into the mount hook because I want to display all the records when the application is open. In my HTML, I will have one input box with the ID new notes. This will be the input box where customer will enter new note, and next to this input box I will have one button which will be considered as a add new note button. And in the paragraph I will have the delete button at the front of every single note. I've created a add note method. This add note method will get the input from the new node input box. It will call the add node endpoint and insert a record into the database. I have also created delete note method which will take a ID as a parameter, and it will call the delete note endpoint and delete that record from the table. Now I check everything. It looks like everything is working as expected. Thank you very much for watching.